Hello, welcome to Football 301. I'm your host, Nate Tice. I'm with Charles McDonald, Mr. Forverts. We're coming to you right during Sunday Night Football. It's time for the late hit. You know, Chuck, it's 34-7. There's like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I think we can call this. Baker Mayfield's out. Teddy Two Gloves is playing. How you doing? What'd you think of this game? This Rams blowout. Rams curb stomping. I felt like I was playing Gears of War.
Yeah, I'm about to say, saying Teddy Bridgewater is playing in this game is like technically true. He's on the field. I don't he's participating, but that's about it. I mean, he's been not good. He looks like someone who retired recently to coach high school football, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of what I expected to happen. I just didn't expect it to get away from him so fast. I mean, this game was over like in the first quarter, basically. Never really felt like Tampa Bay had a chance to get it. Baker was completely rattled, just not good. And then he got hurt and knocked out the game, and that was kind of it. Like, I don't even really know what to say. It was really just nothing. To me, I guess this is what we talked about last week, where you looked at how these teams were trending, right? And the Rams were playing like one of the best teams in the league, or maybe probably the best team in the league. And Tampa Bay, over the past month, they've been one of the worst offenses in football. Mm-hmm. That's what this looked like tonight. That's exactly what this looked like. A Super Bowl team against a team that's circling the drain.
Well, that's what we kind of even said, like, when we did the preview show. As we broke, we're like, man, Rams are a touchdown favorite. Wow, that's pretty crazy. You know, they definitely probably the best team, but wow, okay. And then we broke down the game, and we just keep saying, yeah, the Rams have a lot of natural answers. The Rams, like the Bucs could do this, but then the Rams could do this, and this. The Bucs could do this, but the Rams could do this, and this. And that's how it played out. I even in the pregame, because, you know, I was even with Higbee out, I was looking at the Rams and going, well, they could still go 3 tight ends because the Bucs stink against that. And this is just what the beauty of the Rams team is this year. No, they just stuck with their 11 personnel tonight with 3 wide receivers. The first half, 22 plays, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 7.5 yards per play. They kind of just said, yeah, that's cool. You guys did all those features on 13 personnel, every network, every pregame show. Yeah, we're just going to go back to 11 personnel and go 3 wide receivers. And we got a couple interesting wide receivers outside Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. We got Jordan Whittington. We got some other guys that we can trot out there. This team is just unbelievable. The offense really is so cool. The offense is so fun. Stafford's playing out of his freaking mind. And there's Devontae Adams catching another red zone touchdown. Just like, it's clockwork. You pointed that out. It feels like they just pile up every single week.
Yeah. So then, yeah, this is good team versus bad team. And now I just the NFC South race gets a little more interesting today, because now Tampa Bay and Carolina both have a 6-5 record. And I'm not sure, and they haven't played yet this season, so they still have 2 matchups against Carolina, and they're going to be tied for the division lead going into Monday Night Football, and the Carolina Panthers play the 49ers. So who knows? The 49ers team is pretty banged up. Maybe you can just kind of grind out another win there, and then your 7-5 Carolina Panthers with a negative point differential in the season could be leading the NFC South, depending on how Monday Night Football goes. It's really, really been a strange season. But I think if you're a Bucs fan, you got to be a little worried about where you're moving forward after this, like even just for next season.
I mean, this is kind of it's funny because they're still in the division technically, is that right as we're doing this pod, it kind of has been season of hell-ish, at least on offense, at the very least, just all the injuries they've racked up. And again, that's what we kind of, you broke it down. I thought it was so good when you looked at the splits in the preview show, when you looked at the last month and you're like, no, this is like a bottom 4 offense. Right? It was like, wasn't the stats like 29th and 30th and everything that you listed off?
Bottom 3.
Yeah, it might. I originally in my brain I was going to say bottom 10. I was like, I think it was worse than that. I ended up with bottom 4. That, but that's what it looked like. Like, yeah, they can string together some plays. In the end, the Kate Otten, batted ball, pick 6 is some bad luck and everything. But you just feel that it's all reliant on Baker scrambles. And that's why it's scary to go against a team that actually defends scrambles pretty well. Baker got banged up trying to lower his shoulder for a first down. And you're just living off high wire plays and scrambles. It's just a really tough way to live unless you just got an unbelievable defense. And while I think the Bucs defense is pretty good, but it's just it's not the superpower Bulls defense of maybe a couple of years ago. It's more like it's very pickable. We've previewed the Bucs so many times on the show, and I just feel like every time we have a new thing that you can pick at, and it feels like offenses have new things they can pick at too.
Right. Yeah. This is kind of like it's where you can't be on offense if Baker Mayfield is your quarterback, right? Like, can't run the ball, we're banged up at wide receiver, the screen game's not popping like it was last year. Well, what's left? Now the quarterback has to be the engine of the offense.
The hero.
I mean, he's not that guy. And we've seen when he tries to be that guy, it all falls apart very, very quickly. So, and to be fair to Baker, like, there's very few quarterbacks that can survive in the situations. Like,
this wasn't the plan.
Right. Like, if you can survive in that situation, like, like those are the elite guys, like Justin Herbert, like he's still winning games in circumstances like that, but he's a lot better than Baker Mayfield. So I think they just kind of reached the limitations of what's possible with how the season's gone. And maybe we talked about before the season, the path that their offensive coordinator took to get here was a lot of quality controls before he ended up just popping up as a QB coach, then straight to OC. Maybe that's something they revisit, because this has been not nearly coordinated as well as what Liam Cohen was doing last year.
Yeah, it just feels very, and it's just so hard with the Bucs because there's some weeks where they have so many injuries, and now they've been a little healthier, especially O-line, and it does feel like they're just so. It feels like a guy that's calling plays for the first time. I mean, that's my fairest assessment. I don't think it's the worst I've ever seen. I think it's fine. No. I think there's been some high moments, but it feels very like a guy, like you mentioned, that was in charge of certain areas of the game, but hasn't controlled the whole offense, which makes sense. That's his roles. And he was really good in red zone stuff. And then now he has to call a flow of a game plan. And that's why it feels like it's, big play. Wow, that was really cool by the Bucs. And then you don't feel like you see anything from them for a quarter or like 2 drives, outside like a scramble, but that's not a design play. And even just the O-line just getting banged up and dropping off. They have the same offensive line coach, who I do think is good, Kevin Carberry. But they have, last year, Baker got hit 11 times and he got sacked 26 times. This is PFF, so it might be a little off from what you see elsewhere. This year already, he's been hit 13 times and sacked 24 times. The average, his true sack has gone up, but the knockdowns, that's what those are called combined, has gone up over 3 percentage points, which is significant because it was so low last year. It's 5.7%, and I think it was it's like one of the 3 lowest rates since 2019. Yards before contact has dropped significantly. It's gone from 1.58, which is pretty good, 2 is like an elite number, to 1.29 this year. And the yards after contact, Bucky Irving's been hurt, dropped from 3.67 to 2.92. So it's just everything is a step down, maybe 2 steps down from last year. So it's just the ecosystem of the entire offense. It's just hard to sustain, especially what the defense is. And that's what the Rams, again, credit, McVay's so good, is that they did also 11 personnel stuff tonight. If you watch the first couple drives on 3rd down, they went on the quick every time, which I loved. So the Rams, what do you know about the Rams? Ton of motion, right? Jet motion, shifting, long play calls. It was so, I just love this when you play, you subvert the trope. It was like, okay, the trope is that we do all this motion stuff. All right, we line up on 3rd down, and then they just line up, and then there's Stafford just going, ready, go, and then snap the ball. Yeah. And then you just see the Bucs defenders flying out, trying to get to their last spots because they're trying to disguise. And it's just like, God, you guys are just one page behind. Like, that's what they do. The defenses. Defenses think they got them. We got them dialed up, and they're just like, nope, 1 page ahead of you. That's what we're doing this year.
Best worst defensive coordinator in the league.
Best worst. It's the best way to put it.
Because that's really because the good quarterbacks always just like this is like a guppy destroyer, But the good quarterbacks, like they move so fast, right? And sometimes like Todd, they'll be blitzing like from depth, right? And if you snap it fast, you gonna blitz from 10 yards away? Okay, you're never gonna get there. That's fine, but you're still down a man in coverage while you're running down there. It's like because sometimes what drives me crazy against Tampa Bay is like you'll see teams and they just snap the ball so late in the play clock. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get killed because you've let them get to where they want to be. But today the Rams said, nope, we're moving fast, and now you see like where the personnel issues are starting to show cracks on the back end too, because like Jordan Whittington had a catch today, and he's weaving through your back seven. Like, man, somebody should be able to tackle. He's a nice little player, but somebody should be able to tackle Jordan Whittington, you know. So they got some work to do.
The Jordan Useful Whittington, that's his middle name. It's not Jordan Explosive Whittington. That Devontae Adams fade touchdown, like this was another brilliant thing too, was that last week against the Seahawks, they did a now slant, which is a no-step slant, and it was from a little close split. And then this week, they did the exact same formation, and then they ran the fade with him, a spray fade, it's called. And I thought it was awesome because the Bucs, they see the formation and the safety. I want to say it was Winfield, but I'm not positive. I didn't double check. But a safety brackets Adams and runs down to take away the slant again because they watch tape, you know. But then Rams again, one page ahead, we're going to run a fade. And I was just, I don't know, man. I was just like, God, this is great. It's like, it's just that self-study, that self-scouting, because they know what they're putting on tape and they know how to just tweak it the next week. And it's just such good stuff. They did a bunch of pistol tonight. They're averaging 10 yards a play out of pistol. Did a bunch of under center. It was just everything. You know, the Rams are the best team. Like I don't have any disclaimers, caveats with it. It's just like easily the best team, and it's just more like the Bucs. And what the Rams right now have a 53% chance of being the number one seed in the NFC, which feels right. The NFC is tough, but they are a tough team and a very good and a very complete team too. Offense, defense, pass rush, run the ball, throw the ball. It's really cool to watch this team right now, and it just feels kind of weird to say it in a conference, a division, and a league this year that's so wide open, so crazy that it feels weird to go like, oh yeah, this is definitively the best team. You know, it's just be like, no, they're one pin with a bullet. Okay, now we'll talk about everybody else.
Yeah, I keep trying to like find like what could be a real Achilles heel for this team, because it feels like every single team that's in the playoff race in both conferences has like one thing where you look at and you're like, man, I don't know about like this part of that team, but I don't know. They just seem pretty steady all around. I mean, they don't really have too many holes. Maybe like like the only thing I could really see is like in the playoffs, maybe if you catch Philly on a bad day, maybe they just kind of big boy you because they have a size advantage up front, like offense to defense. But even then, like even though they're undersized, like they've done a pretty good job against the run this year. So just a really good team. Really good team.
It is. I know. It's like the Lions just kind of feel like they don't put together a complete game right now. Packers, same way. They kind of let you hang around. You know, it just, and I mean, maybe it's the Seahawks, like, you know, like maybe it's just the team they just played, you know, like, but it's, like you said, like every other team has a little something I could pick at. And, you know, Packers with the receiver and tight end injuries and O-line injuries. And then now Seahawks with their run game, you know, Lions with their run game. Actually, I know Jahmyr Gibbs went off, so that's maybe not the best example, but it had been a little bit of a step down this year. But, you know, like maybe the passing game, Jared Goff outdoors, yada, yada, yada. So, but if he plays in LA, it's indoors. Ooh, that would be interesting again. But, Rams, very, very good. Don't think we're breaking anything new there. I think the Panthers, it's really exciting to see them play tomorrow night with stakes for the first time in a couple years. And that's pretty cool. I'm going to get to 49ers team. That's feisty. They're good, man. They 49ers have like an 80% chance to make the playoffs still. Like I know it's kind of out of sight, out of mind sometimes with them because of some of the injuries. Pardon?
They're 7-4, you know?
Yeah, I know. And it's very, I mean, likely 80% chance, New York Times, that they'll make it. So I know. So that game's going to be not even low key, pretty high key, exciting Monday Night Football game for the stakes involved. We'll see what happens with the Bucs. Kind of just like they're going to be relevant, but man, they just kind of feel like a step off right now. We talked about a bunch of the other games, and on our recap show, we went live right before Sunday Night Football. One of those games we talked about because we just kind of lamented this afternoon slate outside of Eagles Cowboys was the Raiders and the Browns. And you kind of went in like, what are you doing, Chip Kelly? Why are you hanging out? What are you doing right now? Well, after we recorded that show and before we recorded this, the Raiders fired Chip Kelly. You were smelling it. You smelled the stank. You kind of knew that it was time to throw that out.
It was really bad today. That was embarrassing. Like their quote unquote plan for Myles Garrett was apparently just let him absolutely ravage your backup left tackle with no help. Yeah. Can't believe that didn't work.
No,
18 sacks in 11 games for Myles Garrett, man. That's
And
crazy.
Pete Carroll can't fire his son. So, it's, well, that's how it kind of goes through. Yeah, kind of this every step of this, I can kind of figure this one out. Yeah, it's
Mark Davis, another bill.
Wow. I thought that
Another bill.
He's paying so
Mark
many
Davis
stabs.
loves paying people not to work for him.
Hey, when the Las Vegas Aces cook like this, man, that's what that's his baby. Yeah. I'm just wondering what's going on with the Raiders, man. It was just I thought they had some hope of competency. That was my argument for watching the Raiders this year. It was like, oh, they're not gonna be good, but they'll be interesting. They'll have some fun coaching. It's just been sad. The week one against the Patriots, they had a touchdown with Trey Tucker, and it feels like it's been all downhill since then.
Yeah, Trey Tucker had a weird game today too. Weird game. I don't know. He has there were a couple throws that weren't great throws, but you could try to catch the ball. I don't know. You get paid too.
No one is trying there. They're just enjoying the state income tax here. That's all they're doing in Las Vegas for that team right now. At least Max Crosby tries. I do appreciate Max Crosby. He's just going balls to the wall every single play. At least they got that. But who knows with the Raiders, man? Who knows with Pete Carroll? Who knows with Geno Smith? Who knows with that entire franchise, what their next step is? But it felt like it was due. Something had to change because that was one of the saddest operations I've watched is that offense. And shoot, the defense missed 15 tackles today, literally 15 tackles. So, yeah, it's just a blah operation right now with the Raiders. But Charles and I went on YouTube to react to all of Week 12, the Dirty Dozen earlier today. That's coming up right after the break.